Hi everyone, Jamie here. Welcome back to my garden. Have you ever wanted to grow healthy, robust plants from seed but felt a little overwhelmed by the process? Not to worry. As a gardener, I have noticed that you can get quite bogged down by all the tips, techniques, do's and don'ts of seed starting. But today we are going to simplify everything. We're going to take it down to a couple easy to follow steps to ensure success in your seed starting journey this season. So why start seeds in the first place? Well, for most gardeners, it's because it saves you a ton of money on plants in the garden. You can go get a packet of seeds for a couple bucks and you can start a garden full of beautiful plants for next to nothing. It's also a way to get your hands on more varieties of plants. You can go online and you can find that specific variety of vegetable or flower that you're looking for that you might not be able to find in a local garden center near you. It also gives you the ability to control the growing process from start to finish. You know exactly what's going on with that plant. Plus, it's super rewarding to be able to start a plant from a little seed, baby it, and watch it grow into a big, robust, healthy, mature plant is one of the joys of gardening. Whether it's vegetables or flowers or perennials, it's a point of pride for gardeners to say, I started that from seed. So first things first, let's talk about what you need for seed starting. First of all, you need something to start your seeds in. You need a container or what we call cell trays. I like using Bootstrap Farmers 6 cell trays. To me, they're a great size. They're easy to use. They have drainage holes, and then they also have these little slits at the bottom that allow for something called air pruning. What that does is that prunes the ends of the roots of your seedlings, and it makes sure that those seedling roots don't circle around each other, which actually can be pretty harmful to the seedling. These are great for small seeds, and then I like using the 3-inch ones for bigger seeds or seeds that grow very, very quickly. I don't want you to get too bogged down with the cell trays though, because it's really easy to use things that you have around your house, whether it be an old egg carton or even old yogurt containers. As long as you have a drainage hole in the bottom, you can use them for seed starting. The next thing you need for starting seeds is a medium to start your seeds in, and that usually comes in the form of a seed starting mix. You can find a bag of seed starting mix at a garden center or your local hardware store. Just make sure that somewhere on the bag it says seed starter or seed starting mix. That is really important because it's light and it's fluffy, so it allows the baby roots to get through the soil. It's also sterile. And what that means is it doesn't have any bacteria or fungus or anything going on in the soil that can affect those young seedlings. So it's really important to use a seed starting mix as opposed to something like a potting soil, or especially not going out into your garden and getting soil from your own garden. That's just too heavy and it has too much stuff going on for your baby seedlings. The next thing you of course need are seeds. You can find seeds all over the place, whether it's at your garden center, whether it's online. Find high quality seeds that you know are going to germinate. You can see here on this packet of seeds, they've actually tested these seeds and labeled the germination rate to be 92%. Their test date was October of 2024. So I know that these seeds are going to be good at least for this year in 2025. Then having labels to label your seedlings and something like a garden marker or a pencil to write on those labels to make sure that it's not going to fade away with all the moisture you're going to be putting on your seeds. Trust me when I say label your seedlings. Don't try and remember it. We've all tried and said to ourselves, we're going to remember what we sowed in that seed starting tray. Nope, you never do. Label it. Next up for supplies you need is some way to water your seedlings. When my seedlings are babies like they are here, I like using a spray bottle or a mister bottle like this. This allows me to easily spray the top and make sure that I am not disturbing the seedlings with a stronger stream of water that's going to push the seeds away from where I actually want them. As the seedlings grow up and their root systems develop, I like using the technique of bottom watering, which is where I will actually fill up the seed starting tray with water and then put my seed trays in there, let them soak the water up from the bottom bottom. And that again allows them to get the water they need without disturbing the seeds or the seedlings in the cell trays. Finally, for supplies, you need warmth and you need light. Whether that's by a bright sunny window, or what I like to use is actually a seed starting shelf with grow lights. This is my seed starting shelf that I put together for fairly cheap, on a budget. First off, I got these shelves from IKEA, really cheap. I just liked the size and they were easy to clean. And then you need a grow light. And you can buy dedicated grow lights from the garden center or online. But what I like to do is I like to just buy really strong workshop lights. You can get these from Walmart or a big box store. And as long as they are close enough to the seeds and the seedlings, they are going to work just as well as the expensive seed starting light. All right, now it's time to plant. I'm actually outside in my potting area where I can make a mess and I don't have to worry about it. And that is really important for seed starting. So one of my favorite tools for seed starting is this tray right here. This is called a tidy tray. And this is where I put my seed starting mix to pre-moisten it. And that is a tip that's super, super important for seed starting, is to pre-moisten your seed starting mix before putting them into the cell trays. Trust me, if you try and put dry seed starting mix into your cell trays and then water them, you're not going to get it evenly moistened and you're going to have lots and lots of air pockets. So best practice is to pre-moisten your soil. And what you want to do is that you want to get it wet enough to the consistency of a wrung out sponge. This seed starting mix will take a lot of moisture. So you'll be surprised how much water you actually have to put in your seed starting mix. I like to just add some water and then use my hands, get in there, get dirty, and mix it all around and see what consistency I'm left with. So this right here is perfect. It's evenly moist, and then if I squeeze it, I might get a couple drops coming out, but that's pretty much it. So then I know that my seed starting mix is going to be evenly moist once I get it into these cell trays. So now I will just take one of the cell trays and I'll scoop as much of the seed starting mix in as I can. I kind of push it down just a little bit, but I don't want to push it all the way down because I don't want to compact the soil. Instead, what I do is I make a little space and then I drop my cell trays. I drop it a couple times and I'm using gravity to make sure that there's no air pockets going on in my cell trays. And if you can see, some of the cell trays did have air pockets and the soil dropped down. So I just come in and I fill it, and there is a cell tray all filled and ready to get sown. So once your trays are all filled, it's time to sow your seed. Check your seed packet to see how deep you need to sow that particular seed. Some seeds need to be buried, but some seeds need actually light to germinate, so you just want to press them onto the top of your soil. One of the most frustrating things is when you get a seed packet and it doesn't have any information on how to sow your seed. That's why I like to buy my seeds from reputable places like Johnny's or Swallowtail Seeds. They have so much information on the back of their seed packet for each particular seed. I know that I'm going to have a better chance at success. If you do get a seed packet that doesn't have any information, don't worry, you can just Google it, or a good rule of thumb is to bury the seed twice the depth, the size of that actual seed. So now your seeds are planted into the pre-moistened soil. Use a spray bottle to mist the top to wet the seeds. Once you wet the seeds, just know you need to keep it moist until that seed germinates. If it dries out, that seed's done and it won't germinate. It'll basically die. Germination means you can see the little leaves coming out of the seed shell. Keep the soil moist but not soggy. Like I said, a spray bottle works great. And once your seeds have developed more of a root system, then you can continue on with bottom watering or even using a gentle watering can to water your seedlings. If you're like me and you tend to be a bit forgetful about watering your seedlings, consider using something like this. This is called a humidity dome, and this just maintains the moisture around your seedlings as they're germinating. You can also use plastic wrap covering your trays. That works just as well. Just make sure that once those seedlings do start to sprout and you start seeing leaves, you want to take that plastic wrap or the humidity dome off. Most seeds need warmth to sprout and germinate. You want them to be at about 65 to 75 degrees Fahrenheit. You can use a seedling heat mat that you plug in, but just know that those heat mats only increase the temperature about 10 degrees from the ambient room temperature. So having a nice warm room is the most important thing. Once your seeds do germinate and sprout, you want to make sure that you put them in a nice sunny spot or underneath a grow light to prevent leggy growth. So you've done the hard work. You have filled your trays, you've sown your seeds, you've kept them watered. Check the back of the seed packet to see for about how long you need to keep them in their seed trays indoors. And then you have a bit more work to do. You can't just take those seed trays and seedlings and directly put them outside. You have to follow something called hardening off. And hardening off is actually really important because it's a way to acclimate those baby seedlings to outdoor temperatures that are a lot harsher with the cold, maybe the heat, the wind, and the sun. This hardening off process is super important because it actually develops the cambium layer around the stem of those seedlings, and it allows them to withstand these harsher conditions. To harden your seedlings off, take those seedlings from indoors to outdoors for short periods of time, gradually increasing the amount of time over about a week. So for the first day, you want to have them out for about an hour, then take them back indoors. The second day, about 2 hours. Third day, about 4 hours, and so on and so on. By the 7th day, your seedlings should be pretty well hardened off, and you can safely plant them out into your garden and enjoy all your hard work. And that's it, seed starting simplified. So remember to keep them watered, give them plenty of light, and make sure you harden them off before planting them outdoors. If you found this video helpful, please consider giving me a thumbs up and subscribing for more gardening content. Have fun starting your plants from seed, and I hope you all have a chance to get in your garden today.